I would like to get into a little discussion here, a little lesson on how to determine the furnace categories and what some of the differences are between those four categories. So my little handout here has category 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'll start out with the first one here is category 1. So category 1 appliances, they would typically be, in this case, category 1. That's always associated with a natural draft appliance. So that's an appliance that's going to be using the buoyancy of these products, of the vent products and the vent gases to vent properly out of a building or out of in a vent system. This will always have a negative vent pressure in the vent system, which doesn't require us to have a completely sealed up vent system as a general rule. An appliance that would be a category 1 appliance could be fan assisted. And it also, the other thing that it could also have is it may also have a draft hood. So that's another way that you could figure out if it would be a category 1 appliance. So if I walk up to a furnace and I see a draft hood, I know right away that it's category 1. And I'm expecting a negative vent pressure in this vent system. Temperature-wise, that would also identify that my temperatures are probably going to be somewhere in the, let's say greater than 270 degrees. So that's basically because of the 130 degree dew point of gases typically for these high temps. And also if I add the 140 to that, that would put me at a roughly 270 degrees. So I would expect it to be greater than the 270 degrees as a general rule, is the way I would associate that with. So that's really the trigger for any of the four categories. So anything on the top category, whether it's a 1 or a 3, would have temperatures that are going to be equal to or greater than 270 as a general rule in the vent gases. And anything that's a category 2 or a category 4 would have temperatures that would be, of course, less than 270 degrees Fahrenheit. So they may or may not be condensing, even though that the handout kind of points that it's typically associated with condensing. So that's one other thing. So let's take a look at category 3. So we have 1, we have 3. So let's see what category 3 is different. So we talked about the temperatures being 270. So let's hit this one up. So this particular vent system has a positive vent pressure in it. So the issue we have to concern ourselves with on that category is I need to make sure that my vent system is sealed up and it's not going to leak any of these gases out into the space and potentially create a harmful situation, maybe water damage or creating excessive moisture within an area or a cavity within a building, which could create some real serious problems. So that's kind of one way that we have to look at that. So category 3s, there are definitely some of those appliances that are category 3s. All the category 3s and the category 4s, these are all going to be fan-assisted appliances. So that's going to be category 3, fan-assisted. This one would also be, of course, fan-assisted appliance as well. And that's typically your category 4 type applications. Category 2, I'm not really aware of any type of appliance to date that I've ever heard of that is a negative vent pressure using the buoyancy of the gases in a condensing application. I'm just not aware of any. If there are, that would be a very rare situation. So category 1, 2, 3, and 4. Category 4, dealing with typically condensing environment situations, but it does not need to be. That would require me to have an airtight system, corrosion resistant vent material, and the vent material would either be, as a general rule, would be PVC. It might be a poly pipe that might be used. That would be more for your higher temperature. Maybe even potentially CPVC. That would be another type of a PVC that could be used. Or in some cases, it might even be stainless steel. So stainless steel, there's a specific grade of stainless steel that can be used for those vent materials. Let's take a look at how do you determine what that is. So what category do I have? So I took a picture of 3 different unit tags. The first one here is on the left side. This one here happens to be a boiler, a Burnham boiler, and on the unit tag on the furnace or on the boiler, they identify that it is a category 1 appliance, but if it's in a chimney or let's say a B vent system even for that matter. And in the code or in the manual, they specifically talk about the venting and the sizing and things like that pertaining to that. This one also may be a category 3, so it may be a dual category rated appliance. However, once you go right into a category 3 application, you absolutely must look at the install and all of the specifics related to venting that boiler as a category 3 appliance. So a lot of times you'll have a system where a customer may not want to have a category 4 boiler. They may want the category 3 or the category 1 boiler, and they will vent it out the sidewall. Now in a fan assisted application, you can get away with that. So you just have to follow the specifics of that manufacturer as to how to do that. Most likely in these types of applications, you're kind of required to utilize some sort of a stainless steel vent system because of the high probability of damage to the system or any type of condensation that might occur going out the sidewall. There could be a number of application issues there. So again, you have to follow the manufacturer. On the middle image that I'm dealing with here, that particular image, I took a snapshot and found out that that particular appliance happens to be a category 3 appliance. So this appliance right off the get-go would definitely tell me that we're dealing with an airtight positive pressure vent system that would be non-condensing because we're dealing with the higher temps that would be in the category 3. And the last of the furnace categories that I'm dealing with is a category 4. And on my boiler that I'm showing you right there, that one's identifying as category 4 direct vent boiler or a direct vent boiler. And in this particular one, there again, the manufacturer will dictate all of the vent materials, the specifics and the sizing, and anything related to venting that boiler would come from that area. So those are the 4 of the furnace categories. Again, category 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you determine whether it's positive pressure or negative pressure, and would the temperature be, let's say greater than 270 or is it less than 270? And a lot of times we associate this as, is it a condensing or a non-condensing type system? So anything above we typically would associate as non-condensing, and anything below the line we figure that it's more likely to be a condensing application. However, it is not entirely a requirement.